Hey there, change makers. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kira Siva. I am a spiritual mentor and healer, and today we are going to do a super fun tarot reading, an oracle reading, which is what were you doing in between lives? And what I mean by that is before you came into this life and after your last life, what were you up to? So we're going to dive into the astral realms and check out and see who you were and what you were up to. So super excited to do this one. All right, take a deep breath and connect with your intuition. Pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Timestamps are in the description, and I will see you in your pile. All right, let's jump into the first pile. Pile number 1. Okay, if you skip the intro, this is a super fun reading. We are going to dive into what you were doing in between your life, and that means before you came into this life, but after you left your last one. So we are going to dive into the astral world and the spiritual realm and see what you were up to and who you were and what was going on. And before we dive into that, I just want to thank every single one of you who has gotten a personal reading with me. It helps me be able to do these videos for free, and I love getting videos done for you all and doing pick-a-cards. So thank you so much. And if you are interested in getting a private reading or a personal reading, the link is in the description. It helps me out like you wouldn't believe, and I super appreciate it. So thank you to everybody for that. Okay, let's dive into your pile. Now, I pulled this card very specifically as to be the embodiment or your main energy, like who you are in the spiritual realm. So this is showing me that you are a really old soul. You're a very evolved soul, you're an old soul, and you have spent many, many lifetimes on Earth. It also is showing me that you have spent the bulk of your incarnations on Earth. And that doesn't mean that you probably haven't been other places, but you are just giving me like Gaia incarnate, right? Like you're the little souls of Gaia coming out, which is so beautiful. So your main core energy when you are, before you came into this life, is of love. Her message on here is, my heart is a compass, the path of love is true abundance. So that is showing me that when you were, before you came into this life, one, like you loved being on Earth, you love nature, you love animals, you love like herbalism, you love plants, you love exploring the world. You're like a very adventurous soul. You love to feel that connection and freedom that comes with being unified with a planet. So you are just like this beautiful, earthy, lovey goddess energy is what she's like really radiating out. And again, you're somebody that your soul carries a lot of innate wisdom, which is true for all souls. But you've been on the path. You've walked the path a long time, and you have been around quite a few times. So in between lives, you tend to like have fun, you like to explore, you like to be playful, because again, you're a very adventurous soul. Now over here in your Moonology cards, we've got this Taurus. So again, this is like the energy of when you're in the spiritual realm, it's like you love to manifest and make beautiful environments. So when you, up here we can see there's this like mental plane going on. So when you're, before this life, when you were up in the astral realm, you spent a lot of time like designing environments. And what I mean by that, like the image that they're showing me is a waterfall and these green meadows and flowers popping up. Like you had a lot of fun creating different environments. So you would like make massive environments, and then you would go frolic and explore in these massive environments, because this playful card is really there. And I think that you really spent your time in between this life and your last life, like just frolicking, playing, like totally enjoying the freedom that comes with being a spirit. And, you know, in the 3D, things take a long time to manifest. So when you get into the spiritual realm, where you have a lot more freedom to just, you know, intend something and it's there, you really enjoy playing with that. You really enjoy going out and about, and they just keep showing me these really like fanciful environments. Like you had just a really, really fun time creating spaces, exploring spaces, and playing in spaces. Now we do have this surrender to the divine, which I love, because that is showing me that while you were out frolicking in these really cool environments you created, you also spent time learning more about higher wisdom, and you've learned more about the unity that is all of creation. So this, to me, you know, you've got these two really full moons combined with the unification that we see in the lovers, where their hands are held, right? All these paths are crossing. So this is showing me that when you, before you came into this life, you were really like leveling up your soul's evolution. So you had this really fun playtime, and also you had this time to deepen your understanding of how creation works, of how reincarnation works, of just what they're showing me. Your spirit guides is the they. What they're showing me is you were learning how like interdimensional travel happened. And that could actually be tied to all of the cool environments you made. So it's like you were learning, that's a really interesting word, interdimensional travel. So it's like you were learning about the layers of creation, but as a traveler. So, for example, say you did a lot of text study while you're here on Earth about different countries. That level of knowledge is very different than going over to Europe and then going into Africa and India and China and America and South America and Mexico, right? So what they're showing me is that if the countries were dimensions, you were hopping dimensions and you were having a grand time. That's what they told me. You were having a grand time. And what this travel was doing for you was helping you understand the different aspects of creation and how things work in different interdimensions. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, there was also this other part where we see this transformation, and even in the Two of Swords, just look at how much sword energy. So what this is showing me is that all of this amazing, it's showing me that your soul was learning, how do I put it, it's like if you are really intelligent, if you were like Einstein, right? You're like really intellectually a genius. You were really, really learning that part of your soul. I know we don't take our minds with us when we go, but that's what they're showing me. It's like you are really gaining more intelligence through this travel. You were really understanding things, and that was transforming you. And you're still actually in this process. Your lifetime right now is a part of this bigger process. So you may do a lot of traveling in your sleep. You may have very vivid dreams, and you may, I'm going to say it this way, you may actually be very well versed at interdimensional travel, but you may not understand or fully know that you are connected in a multi-dimensional way. Like you might get like, yeah, I have my body and I've got my consciousness and I have my mind and I have my heart and my feelings. You may understand that, but sometimes when something is so much a part of you, you don't understand how deeply connected you are to all of the different dimensions. I hope that makes sense, because it's such a big feeling. It's such a big feeling. It's like, cool. Like, it's for all of you that are the psychics, intuitives, empaths out there, it's like you are connected to all of these different dimensions, but it's so normal for you because you were just playing in that now when you're here on this planet, you still have access and playing and connected, but your mind doesn't know. Your consciousness isn't aware of how truly deep the knowledge goes. And that's okay. You can wake up those parts of yourself. Sometimes that part just takes a little bit of time and work and effort. And what they're really showing me is that it's like before you came to this incarnation, you were in a major process of doing the next big level up. And so you were having to learn and experience these different planes of existence so that you could level up. Okay, pile number 1, that's what I see you doing in your previous, in between lives, your previous life, in between lives, before this one, after the last one. How fun. You are such an adventurous and loving soul. This was such a cool reading, and I'm so happy I've done it, because how fun, how freaking fun is it to be an interdimensional traveler and learning about cosmic wisdom that way. Very cool. Okay, pile number 1. If you like this message, please give it a like and a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to dive deeper into you, go ahead and get a personal reading. I'm just so grateful for everybody who gets those, because they help me out so much. And I love reading for you all. So pile number 1. Until next time, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day. Number 2. Okay, before we get into this, in case you skipped the intro, this intention of this reading is super fun. We are checking out what you were doing before you came into this life and after you left your last life. So what were you doing in between lives? I am so excited for this. Okay, pile number 2. Now, this card over here, let me show that to you guys. So when I pulled this card, the whole intention was to see like who you are at your core when you are in between lives, and you are the goddess of light. And we see this light reflected all throughout this reading. It's really incredible. So the image your spirit guides are showing me is you're like a little sun. So if you don't look directly at the sun, but you know how the sun is bright and you see these light radiating off of it, that's you. You see how she's got this light radiating off of it? They're showing me that you were like a ball of light. You were just this sparkly, radiant light, and you were having a great time shining. There is this moment when, and we strive for this so hard when we're in the body, but to feel the bliss that comes out when you are so fully connected with your soul. Your soul is like sunshine, is like every single one of you has this little sun in you, although you were probably very big in between lives. So that's what they're showing me. It's just this ball of radiating blissful joy. So you were blissed. You were in the bliss of life. How nice does that sound? How nice. Okay, so we see that in your main card of like who you are. So if you're ever, feeling stuck in your humanness, just remember your true nature is bliss. You are a truly, naturally joyful being, and let that shine. Let it shine, come out from your heart. We even see this over in the peacock spirit. Literally, let it shine. And this peacock is shining out their light. And even this little image looks a lot like the heart, even though it's in the throat chakra. It looks like a little heart, and I love that. The other main thing that your spirit guides are telling me you were doing is you were this radiant, shining light. You were like a rock star in the spiritual realm, and you were teaching. You were showing people. You were modeling that. Sometimes in between lives, we go to different kinds of schools and we learn different things about the cosmos and the wisdom, and they're really showing me that you were embodying really high levels of bliss. Really, really high levels of bliss, and you were radiating that out, and you were showing people and also teaching people how to reach these levels of bliss. We see over here in the stag spirit, whenever I get the stag spirit card, I know I'm dealing with a leader. I know that I'm dealing with somebody that is meant to lead people, and so they are showing me this, right? We have this leadership right here, and we have her standing in a wands card, which is your inspiration. Like, she's got a crown, she's got a wand, she's got all the good stuff, she's got light radiating. That's like what I feel you were doing. You were like, hey guys, we can all be in bliss. Here's how you do it. And then just blast out gorgeous, gorgeous, blissful energy. We also have this Chariot card. So what they're showing me with that is you were showing people, the other beings, the other spiritual beings, here's how you overcome the darkness. Here's how you get through the healing. And since we have the South Node, this tells me that this is something you regularly do in between lives. Like, you come down here for a while and you do your thing, and then when you go back to the spiritual realm, you're teaching people. You're like, okay, this is how we overcome this is how we overcome that. And when the other beings, people essentially, are up there that you were teaching, they're like, hey, I couldn't get past XYZ block when I was down at Earth. I don't know how to do it. I'm really stuck in this point. You're like, no problem, I got you. I've been on the Ferris wheel bajillions of times. I'm going to go down there, I'm going to experience that problem, and when I come back, I'm going to show you, here's how I overcame it. So this also tells me that what you were doing before you came is actually really heavily influencing who you are, the problems that you have, and what you're doing in this life. So if you feel really stuck on a problem, take this with a grain of salt. It may or may not be appropriate for where you're at in your healing journey. If it's not, just let it go. But it seems like from this reading that you are the kind of being that comes down to earth for fun because you are ultimately a leader in the spiritual realm, and you demonstrate and you learn different techniques for overcoming the problems that people experience when they incarnate in the planet. Really cool. And I think that you are a long-term spiritual teacher. I think that that's a mainstay for what you do when you are in the spiritual realm. And you seem very happy with that. Like, you're very blissful, you're very joyful, you're like, you know, you think about a big Buddha laughing with their big belly, like just totally so happy. So happy. And that level of inspiration ultimately carries over to the other people, spiritual beings who are up there, that may need to see that, because sometimes the school of life knocks and it hurts, and we can get stuck on things. So you're like, you professionally unstick people, which is really, really, really cool. We also see this in the time for healing, which also tells me, you know, that the level of joy that you have when you're in between lives is so healing, and you are so masterful and good at overcoming these things that you are the healing balm. I don't know if you guys have, ladies, I guess mostly, hi to also the gentlemen out there, but I don't know if you have all ever experienced when you're interacting like with your spirit guide or with an angel or with an ascended master, and you feel the universal love, and that enormity of the love is a huge heart opening, and it heals things that you didn't even know were wrong. Right? You didn't even know you were carrying them around. It fulfills the desires that you didn't even know you had. And it fulfills the desires that you did know you have. It's like just having your cup be so overflown with unconditional love. It's incredible, incredible, incredible experience. That's what you do when you're in between lives. So if you feel like you have a difficult life when you're here, just know that you probably have those problems because you actually kick butt and take names, and you're here on behalf of the other beings that are getting stuck, and you're just showing them like, here's how you get out of it. Wow. Whoa, pile number 2, rock star energy. Holy cramoly. I love this. This is such a fun reading. Okay, pile number 2, that is what I see for you. You are an absolute delight, rock star in the spiritual realms, and you were definitely leading and teaching people in between your lives, and it's because you're a radiant light. You're a radiant, joyful, beautiful being, and I am so privileged and excited to read for you. So pile number 2, if you like this reading, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. And I am offering personal readings. I am so grateful for everybody who has signed up for those. So if you want to dive deeper into you, go ahead and check those out. Until next time, pile number 2, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day. Pile number 3. Okay, so what were you doing in between lives? If you skipped the intro, this is about what you were doing before you came into this life and after you left your last life. So where are you at in the spiritual realms, hanging out in the ethers? Let's dive into this. These have been super fun. So the very first thing that your spirit guides are showing me is that when you left your last life, it was a little rough. Like, you had some things to heal from. It was a bit of a challenging life. You were an amazing warrior, and with all of the rest of the cards, it's telling me that you, like your life in between the lives, you were very happy. So you had a kind of a tough life. You came back to your spiritual home, and your spirit guides are just like highlighting this big smile on his face where he's sitting in the chair and he's just like happy. He's just super, super happy. So what they're showing me is that before you came into this life, you were blissfully happy. You were having a really good time. And you had some healing work to do from your previous life. Like, you went through some things, and so you learned a lot, and you, it's like you had to do your personal growth when you got to the spiritual realm. Like, you just went through something massive, and you're like, oh my God, what happened? And so you've been spending some time in the spiritual realm, really just healing and resetting your energy. We've got the frog spirit here, clear out the clutter, and the dog spirit, be loyal to what you love. So this is showing me that you spent time really experiencing devotional bliss. A lot of times when we get reconnected with spirit, there is this, I love devotion. I love devotion. Devotion's one of my favorite feelings to feel. So what they are showing me with this is that, you know, when you go through healings, there's these times when you reconnect with spirit where you feel the enormity of the love that spirit has for you. You feel the wholeness, and it's like the unity wraps around you like a blanket and reminds you that, you know, you are a part of something so much bigger and so magnificent. So what they're really showing me is that you got a lot of rejuvenation. you got a lot of rejuvenation and you got a lot of rebalancing, and you had this time to really reflect. We can see in both the Two of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups, her eyes are closed. She's like, but she's happy, you know, she's content, she's in motion, she's enjoying that moment. So that's really showing me that you were really content in between lives, and that a lot of this healing work allowed you to just understand the cosmic perspective better. Now over here with our Moonology cards, we have conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse, and luck is on your side, new moon in Sagittarius. This again is just that robustness of the healing that you went through. You really, it's like you went through some things in the life before this one, and when you were in the spiritual realm, you really got to have those bigger perception shifts and like the deeper understanding of how the cosmos works. It's like, I'm trying to think of like something in our human world that would be like this, but it's like when you are studying spirituality and say you are learning about karma and the action and reaction and how that energy is flowing through time, and when you put your attention on it, you see how your previous actions have influenced your current actions, and you also see that in the people around you, and there's like a higher wisdom that comes along with that. It's, you know, it's almost like when you are, it's a tough concept to bring down, but when you watch the reflections of the nature and the people and the situations and circumstances around you, your consciousness highlights the lesson underpinning it all. So if you are learning about karma, you see that through your mind's eye and through putting together the patterns in your life, whether it's the people in your life or it's your own personal story. So that's what they're showing me. You had this really robust, really full healing. You got to see how the different threads that had happened in that previous life came together and why the things happened that they did. And now, again, oh, I love this. It brought you to such a place of peace. So we see in the Temperance, her eyes are closed, she's smiling, eyes are closed, smiling, eyes are closed, smiling. So this is just telling me there's just like, really, you felt like so peaceful and deeply contemplative, and like everything that you went through made sense, and you were able to integrate it. I think that's the word I've been looking for. You were able to integrate all of those experiences, and that allowed you to have a really robust healing. And during the process, you cleaned out a lot of stuff you didn't. Maybe you took care of some karma. And then really, the Isis, the goddess of magic, I wanted to really fully show like the energy you carried in between lives. And obviously this is the goddess of sexual energy or creative energy, but beyond that, she talks about devotion. And so we have two devotion cards here. We've got the dog spirit. If you think about how dogs love you, they're very unconditional love, very devoted. And then we have Isis over here. So your spirit guides are really telling me that, again, that's what the phrasing they're using is devotional bliss. Being so like drunk on the love of the divine, so complete, so happy, so like, wow, this is a magical and wonderful creation, and everything is so cool, and like, oh my gosh, all this stuff is always working out. So that's what they're really telling me, is that everything is working out in your favor, and yeah, you've just had an incredible, I just see this like really incredible, happy, I know I keep saying robust, but it's like this really full healing and integration where you were able to just find these really deep sense of peace and contentment, and really just like enjoying if you imagine, so I'm going to try to explain the imagery that they're giving me because I have my eyes closed right now. And it's like the golden rays of the sun. So if you were lounging on the world's most comfy couch and the beautiful sunset golden rays, the golden hour, imagine that just pouring in over you. And you're just like, you feel the warmth of the sun, you're in a comfortable position, you've got everything that you need, and that sunlight is just feeding you. That golden sunlight's just feeding your soul. So that is really what your spirit team is showing me, what you're doing in between lives. You are so happy. I hope that happiness is carrying over into your life because you 1,000,000% deserve that. Oh my goodness. And if you don't, just ask your angels and spirit guides, like, hey, can I get some of that? Like, can I remember some of that in my consciousness? Because it's definitely a big piece. It's a really big piece for what you were doing. Okay, pile number 3. Wow. So beautiful, so beautiful. I hope you keep that image with you of you just lounging on the world's comfiest couch and the golden rays of sunlight just totally feeding and nourishing your soul. So delicious, so delightful. All right, pile number 3. This is what you are doing in between lives. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave me a comment below because it helps out tremendously and I super appreciate it. And if you want to dive into your own world, I am offering personal readings. You can find that in the link in the description. And until next time, pile number 3, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.